Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us for the Airmic Showcase. Today, we will have the opportunity for you to learn more about Airmic, what we do, and how we support our members and work with industry. Before we get into the body of today's discussion, I'll go over a few housekeeping points just to make you aware. On the right-hand side of your screen, you should have a panel. And on that panel, you will see a space for you to be able to ask questions. We will have some time and some space for questions for you at the end. However, if you would like to pop questions in during the course of the discussion, which we can refer to at the end, do feel free to do so. If you would also be so kind at the end of the session, once it's ended, there will be the opportunity for you to fill out a very short survey. It will only take 2 minutes of your time, but will be very useful for us as an organisation in terms of feedback. By way of introduction, for those that don't already know me, my name is Advocacy and I am the Membership Coordinator for Airmic. This means I am responsible for all things membership at the Airmic headquarters. A lot of you will have already spoken to me or come across me as I've now been with Airmic for almost 5 years. And for those that are new to Airmic and haven't yet had the opportunity to meet me, great to e-meet you in this way today. So if we can go on to the agenda for today so you can see what we'll be covering. Myself and my colleagues will be covering a little bit about Airmic, what we do, talking about Airmic membership. You'll get to learn a bit more about our learning and development initiatives, Airmic Events, more about our communities and special interest groups, some of the technical research and resources which Airmic produces throughout the course of the year. And as mentioned previously, we will have the opportunity for you to ask your questions and we will be happy to answer them. So as you can see, I'm not alone here today. I'm joined by a few members of our great Airmic team, and I'll just run through a few introductions so you know who you'll be hearing from today. I've introduced myself, but we also have Susie Oskert, who is our head of events. Some of you may well be very familiar with Susie, and she'll be walking you through some of the bigger events that we do here at Airmic. We also have Adam Ireland, who is our head of learning and development. Adam joined the Airmic team just last year through lockdown, so it may well be that none of you have actually met Adam face to face, but this is your opportunity to e-meet him. And for those of you that will be joining us next month at conference, hopefully you'll get the opportunity to bump into Adam face to face there. We also have Alex Frost, who is our marketing development manager. And he is also relatively new to Airmic, having joined also in lockdown of last year, but he heads up not only on our work with Airmic partners, but also with our special interest groups. And last but certainly not least, we have Ho Young. Ho Young is our head of technical research here at Airmic. And he is the brains behind a lot of the technical output and the thought leadership that you would have either come across already or may well come across in a not too distant future. So we'll be hearing from Ho Young as well. So if we go on, this session is essentially your opportunity to have answered the questions that you may have about Airmic. The purpose of today's session is not only for us to speak to you about what it is that we do here at Airmic and how we aim to support our members and the wider risk and insurance community, but also a lot of you may well have heard of us, but maybe don't know the full scope of what it is that we do and the type of output that comes from Airmic. Some of you are already members, you may well be new to Airmic and you just want to get a good sense of what can I access as a member? What does my membership entitle me to be able to get a hold of and make best use of? So we want to make sure that if you have questions around that, we're helping you to make the best of your membership with Airmic. And some of you are just very new to Airmic. You may not already have an affiliation with us, and you've come along because you're curious. You want to see if this is something which might be of interest to you even now or for the future. This is a great opportunity for you to have those questions answered through the course of today. So if we move on, the main core facet behind Airmic and what we do is that we really want to be able to provide our members with value. At the core of everything that Airmic does are our members, and it's extremely important to us that we are seen and we are providing our membership base with value in terms of money, value in terms of what you get back for being an Airmic member. So just by way of background, currently Airmic has over 1,500 members spanning from around about 350 organisations. Our members are diverse and we're very proud of this. When I joined around about 5 years ago, I would have said that the Airmic membership was very traditional. It's what you would think of from an insurance association with the typical insurance manager, risk manager type roles. However, during the last 5 years, there's been a great diversification in our membership. And this is a reflection of the way that organisations tend to deal with risk and insurance within their businesses. We found that a lot of other roles are taking on board risk and insurance responsibilities, and as such, a lot of the output from Airmic is now more relevant than ever across a wider base. So as well as our risk and insurance managers, we're also seeing members join who sit within legal, human resources, people and benefits, cybersecurity, and also from a HR background. As well as our membership, we also offer 6 major networkings throughout the course of the year. These include our flagship conference, which is taking place next month for 2 days in Brighton. We also have an annual dinner, which takes place at the end of the year. We have an ERM forum and a fast track forum. And as well as that, we will also do a couple of other main forum events throughout the course of the year. Most recently, we have done climate, and we have also had a technology forum. All of this is included as part and parcel of your membership. Also included in your membership is access to a range of learning and development sessions. We currently hold over 100 sessions throughout the course of the year that our members can access, and almost all of our content is CPD accredited. So for those of you that are collecting your CPD throughout the course of the year, when you take part in an Airmic session, this will all count towards that. We also take great pride in our technical output here at Airmic, and more so because we are able to do a lot of what we do because we work in partnership with our members to be able to produce that. We don't just produce technical output because we think something's important, but we'll work with our members, hear about what you think is important, and we'll work that into our technical output and our thought leadership. Most recently, some of you may well have seen that we've had a member survey, and the report for that will be collated, and you'll be able to see the results of that shortly in the coming year. So the next slide enhances the fact that we are a member-focused organisation. And part of what we do is that we advocate on issues that affect our members. We are very careful throughout the course of the year to ensure that we are hearing from our members. And if there are certain issues and themes which we know are coming up continuously, these are things which we know we need to take further on behalf of our members. And this is done in a range of ways. We will carry out roundtables to hear from our members, and also to go between our members and industry on these issues. And we'll also, when asked to speak on government consultations or government body consultations, we'll take our member thoughts to them as well. We also try and enhance member knowledge through our learning and development program. Over the past year, we have worked hard to be able to improve and enhance our learning and development program since the onboarding of Adam, who you'll hear from shortly. And from that, we now have programs around mentoring. We have programs, a very clear fast track program, and we've recently added a third stream to that of professional skills. And so that's something else that we have done because it was important to our members. We've also created a forum for knowledge and exchange. We have a very clear and strong special interest group, set of special interest groups. We have worked hard over the past year to invigorate this particular stream of Airmic output because we know it's important for our members to be able to speak to each other, learn from peers, and to be able to do this in a safe place. And as well as that, we work hard on our thought leadership. You would have seen this in our Roads to series, and you would have also seen this in the wide range of explain guides and white papers which come out from Airmic. So we try to ensure that we have something for every level of your career. So if we move on, I'll be passing on to Alex, who will talk about how we connect members and industry.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Bissy, and good morning, everybody. As Bissy said earlier, my name is Alex Frost. I'm the Market Development Manager at Airmic, and that means that I have overall responsibility for growth of both our members and our partners and how we connect them together. Because as the trade association for those in risk and insurance, that is from chief risk officers to heads of insurance to heads of risk and all the other roles that Bissy just mentioned, our role is not just to represent you and provide some service for you in the marketplace, but it is also to connect you with top services, best global services, best global institutions, and best global and local partners. And that is everything from services such as risk advisory to those in captive management and alternative risk transfer, to partners in the technology space, to good old classic insurance coverage, and to connect you to top thought leaders and thought leadership on the changes that our industry is going through, on emerging risks, on the changing nature of the workplace, and on solutions for the myriad of risks that we're now facing. We do this by building a robust collection of partners and sponsors. We sometimes use that word interchangeably. I prefer partners. We have over 60 partners, in case any of you have ever wondered, across 4 very distinct tiers. And those tiers are, we have our full partners, who are the classic and large members of the risk and insurance industry. These are your Aons and Howdens, Marsh, AIG, Chubb, etc. We have our associate partners, who are often major technological service providers, companies like Risk Connect, or large international insurers or reinsurers who are globally prominent, but perhaps have a smaller operation in the UK, people like Generali, Swiss Re, for example. We have our preferred service providers, who are everything from climate modelers like Verisk Maplecroft to consultants on security and geopolitical risk in control risk or travel safety in international SOS. And we're very happy at the moment to have welcomed 2 new partners to the PSP category. Risconet, which is a risk engineering firm based in the European continent, but also with operations in the UK, and Strategic Risk Services Europe, a captive management body. So we're sort of expanding all the time and looking for opportunities to connect you with the best and widest variety of services that we can through our partnership, and to put you in touch with them, as you will see over the course of the rest of this presentation, as many times as possible throughout the year. So of course, conference is always our showpiece, but we aim to connect you across a number of different platforms with the partners. Now, the fastest way to see who is in the partnership, we hope one day very soon to have a partnership brochure which can be downloaded for our members and prospective partners to see, but is to go to the Airmic website and look in our partner directory, where you can see partners by alphabetical order, or you can search them out by type of service provider or by name. You can type into the bar and see everyone from the partners to the APs to the preferred service providers, and even those in our basic lowest form of partnership, the marketplace, which I often describe as a confidence building area where smaller service providers or providers who are tentative about their partnership with Airmic can join to learn a little bit about what we do. We learn a little bit about what they do, and we build confidence in each other and the membership's interest in their services and activity, and we grow our partnership as the years go on. So I encourage all of you to go to the partnership directory, have a poke around, and you may come across some partners you never knew were in the Airmic ecosystem. And as I said before, we try to connect you across a number of different platforms. I generally group them into 4 major pillars. 4 is kind of the magic number here. We have 4 tiers of partnership. I think there are 4 pillars that we connect you, the membership, with the partners. And those are learning and development, our events program, our special interest groups, which I will speak about a little bit later, and of course our technical resources and our thought leadership program. And my colleagues can tell you a little bit more about that. So at this stage, I'll introduce our learning and development manager, Adam Ireland, who can tell you a bit about our L&D offering.
Thanks, Alex, and hi everyone. Lovely to meet you, and thanks, Bissy, for the introduction earlier. As Bissy said, I'm Adam Ireland. I'm the Learning and Development Manager here at Airmic, and would love to answer any of your questions around learning development that you may have. So just to give you a bit of an idea, I'm just going to spend a few minutes taking you through the range of activities we have at Airmic from a learning perspective. Just to give you an idea of all the benefits that are available to you as members, there's a vast array. So in terms of learning and development here at Airmic, it's all part of your membership. So with the exception of perhaps one program, basically everything you do is free. Once you've paid your membership, then you get access free of charge to such a wide range of training opportunities that, as Bissy said earlier, will help you with your CPD hours. I think one of the greatest things here at Airmic when I joined was just realizing the wide range of options that we have available for our members from a learning perspective, which really are catered to suit your particular needs, as well as the sort of career stage that you're at. So we have something called a professional journey, which takes sort of professionals from the early stages of their career right up to senior leadership, and we try and provide learning and development opportunities for each of those stages. I'll speak about that a little bit more in a moment. We're very proud with our learning here at Airmic that it's both live and on demand. By that we mean a lot of training and opportunities that you'll go through here at Airmic are sort of live webinars that we run. Everything we run at the moment is online through a webinar format because of lockdown, but we're very excited to be moving back into face-to-face delivery very soon. And in 2022, we'll be offering a blended learning approach to our members. So some elements will be online, some will be physical, face-to-face in person. The other thing about learning in terms of on demand is, as Bissy said earlier, almost everything we do at Airmic carries the opportunity not only for CPD hours, but also learning. So the forums and the events that my colleague Susie will talk about later, the special interest groups that have already been mentioned, technical research that we do, everything presents an opportunity to learn. And that wide range of content that we have delivered in different means provides you as a member with the opportunity to choose what you want in the form you want it, which I think adds great flexibility to meeting your own professional development needs. All of our sessions that we deliver are delivered by experts in their field. They are in practice now They know what's happening. They're on the front line. They have the latest information to hand. And therefore, we find our members learn huge amounts from all of our speakers, which is pretty diverse in terms of both background, organisation, experience, and so on. And we are constantly evolving our learning and development offer. Bissy alluded to this earlier. In the last year, we have not only adapted to move to online, but we've been focusing our attention on just what are our members saying about our learning and development events. What is it we need to improve? What's going really, really well? And so there's this sort of desire to constantly improve. And if we just take a quick look at what our members say about learning and development at Airmic, I think we're really proud of some of these numbers. This was from a member L&D survey we did earlier this year, and I'm not going to read out all of those numbers to you, but you can see, a very, very high proportion of our members would recommend our learning and development events. They rate the content and the speakers as very good or good. But I think the two telling statistics there on that slide, which are perhaps of greatest value to you, is firstly, just under 93% rate Airmic L&D events as very important as part of their membership. It is a key part of Airmic membership, understandably, and therefore Airmic should be one of your first ports of call. Really, we would suggest to really engage your own professional development and just look at the wide range of what we do. And then the other statistic there is right at the bottom, and we're really proud of this. 92.4% are saying the main reason they come to Airmic for learning and development was relevance to their job role. We've all been on learning and development events, I'm sure, where we thought, yeah, it's okay, but did it really tell me anything? Did it really help me with my job? Here at Airmic, we think that a lot of what we do, and our members, this is what our members tell us, is really, really helping them with their job role, lots that they can take away from everything that they attend. So we just move on to the next slide, just to give you a bit of an idea of some of the things we do offer. We have the Airmic Academy, which is a series of about 50 webinars, 50 sessions over the year, from a whole range of subjects delivered by our partners that Alex has just talked about on a wide range of subjects. We have there in the middle the Fast Track program, which is a 2-year program designed for those typically in the first 4 years of their career. So remember, I mentioned the professional journey earlier, and that is a range of 15 sessions each year, so 30 in total across an insurance stream, a risk stream, and a professional stream, so 3 streams. And you can pick and choose the ones that you want to attend. On the right-hand side of the screen there, top right corner, you can see the Business Excellence Program, which is sponsored by our friends at AXA XL. And we're really proud of this program. It's a year-long program, a development program, a cohort of 20-25 people, typically around mid-career, who want that wider awareness of business and how business works. So to take some of those risk and insurance blinkers off and think about how does risk and insurance fit within the wider business? How can we improve our credibility and gravitas within a business and at board level by showing that we understand how businesses operate? So the Business Excellence Program consists of 6 modules, and we take you through corporate governance, finance, people, corporate purpose, technology and information, and so on. Really popular program. And you effectively graduate at the end. You get a certificate of completion. We have a graduation ceremony. And I'd really encourage you to have a look into that one if you think that it's right for you. Last year, we introduced something called Airmic Live. You see that down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And this is a really popular event with our members, one of the top 3 that members rated in our survey. And Airmic Live brings something different from the others that I've mentioned. It's typically a weekly newsy type 1-hour webinar, which is really topical. What's literally happened in the last few weeks, and really bring you up to date. And again, delivered by our partners, but very topical and very on the money in terms of what members need to hear there and then. We have our field trips, which we are just about to resurrect now that lockdown has been easing and we're getting back into the realms, we're delighted to say, of face-to-face event. And our field trips are fascinating form of learning development for our members. It involves taking you out of your comfort zone, your typical working environment, and taking you to an organisation and exploring how they operate and how they work. And really, it's an in-depth, detailed analysis of an alternative working environment and organisation you may be less familiar with. So our next field trip is actually on the 19th of October with Lloyd's of London. We do this one typically most years, and you get a tour of the building, but in particular, you're going to hear from Lloyd's with their innovation lab and a showcase from some of those members of Lloyd's of London. You'll hear about how Lloyd's have been dealing with Brexit, how in terms of underwriting. You'll hear about their eye in the future and what they're trying to do. So really, really good field trip coming up. And then we're looking to put on more field trips next year with the likes of maybe the Wellcome Trust, Amazon, people like that, and so on. As I mentioned earlier, everything we do, not just in learning and development, but across our events and our special interest groups and our communities, you are effectively accredited. You can get your CPD hours. And we really recommend that our members do that. And so that's one of the greatest advantages, I think, of our learning and development offer, not only for the networking and the actual content that you'll take away, but the CPD that you'll effectively earn. And then underpinning all of this on the next slide, you can see what it is that we are effectively hoping to achieve and support you with. So on the left-hand side of the screen, our CEO, Julia Graham, you can see a quote there about risk professionals needing to become strategically aligned enablers in their organization. And this drive to develop new mindsets and new competencies. And that's really what underpins everything we do in learning and development here at Airmic. And as a result, we developed a competency framework for risk management professionals. This is updated every year, and you can see that in the middle of your screen. Looks something like that with a range of core competencies and behaviors. And this really is there to help guide you as a member as to how you can develop your competencies as risk and insurance professionals, but also what is it that Airmic does that helps you develop those particular competencies and behaviors and so on. So the idea is that we're here to help guide you, to give you advice on the best way to move your career forward. And then in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen now, one other thing that we offer, again, to support you in the sort of here and now, day-to-day, is a mentoring scheme. So we recruit we have a pool of experienced Airmic members who are themselves risk and insurance professionals, but very, very experienced, been around for many, many years. And they are our mentors. And as mentees, members can join the scheme. It's all online. You fill out your profile. You are then matched with a mentor, and away you go. We give you some resources, some guidance. We have a mentoring guide. We help you develop a mentoring agreement between you and your mentor. And we find with the mentoring scheme, a bit like mentoring in general, not only does the mentee benefit, but the mentor benefits as well. So it's a great scheme, very, very popular, launched last year, and we would highly, highly recommend it. So that's it really from me. I just wanted to add there then that what we've talked about is how our L&D is perceived by our members and why it's so successful, some of the things that we do and the wide range, and we'll be bringing more in next year to help you. And then also this idea of competencies and mentoring for you as support. That's everything from me for now. I'm going to pass over to my colleague, Susie. He's going to talk to you a little bit about the events that we do.
Thank you, Adam. And yes, good morning, everybody. So my name's Susie Oscar. I'm the events manager here, and I basically look after and run the Airmic Events programme. So I'm really pleased to be able to talk to you today and highlight some of the wonderful events that we run for our members. Now, these events, they're free, they're fun, they're educational, they're engaging, and they offer great networking opportunities for you to mix with other members who are also working in the risk and insurance community. So during the last 18 months of the pandemic, we have had to change all of our events from physical to virtual events. We had to cancel our annual conference last year, which was due to take place in Edinburgh last June. And instead, we managed to put on a 3-day digital conference called Airmic Fest. So that was last September. It was hugely successful. We had about 2,000 delegates sign up to watch the live sessions. It was quite incredible. So what kind of events do Airmic run and what are they all about? Well, As I mentioned, all our events are free to attend and they're all accredited with CPD hours. So this year we have run the Technology Forum. So that was on the 13th of May, which was a virtual event. That event focused on how the pandemic had pushed organisations over the technological tipping point and how it transformed businesses forever. That event was accredited with 5.5 hours of CPD hours. We had some great blended sessions at this event. Some were based on how to prevent ransomware, on how technology and digital risks are now operating risks, keeping up with tech acceleration, just a few to name for those sessions. We had about 150 attendees dial into that event. The next event we ran was also a virtual event, and that was the Fast Track Forum. That was live streamed on the 8th of July. As Adam mentioned, the Fast Track Forum is really aimed for members with less than 4 years experience within the insurance and in risk management community. Some of the highlights of that forum was this great session. It was an interview with a current player from the Irish rugby team. He spoke to members about how he manages his mental health and improves his well-being. We had some really interesting sessions on managing reputational risks, cybercrime, and top tips of the future. That event was accredited with 3.5 hours of CPD hours, and we had about 132 attendees dial into that event. So the Airmic conference, which is our flagship event, that's actually coming up in a few weeks' time. And I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about that in just a second. After the conference, we're looking to run our annual Enterprise Risk Management Forum. So this is another fantastic event with keynote sessions, a series of workshops, and also masterclasses. It's a full day. We're hoping to run a physical event this year, and it's usually followed by a networking drinks reception. And the date and the venue are yet to be confirmed, but we're hoping to run this in December. And that event usually attracts around about 250 delegates. And then finally, to celebrate at the end of this year, we put on a business networking dinner at the Hilton Hotel in Park Lane. So this event usually takes place in the evening. It will be the 7th of December. It's basically a celebration to mark the end of the year for our industry. Our partners and sponsors buy and host tables for our members. It's a formal black tie dinner. We have after dinner speaker, a comedian, a silent auction, and usually a band. It's a really, really fun event, and it's a great chance for our industry to come together over a few glasses of wine, delicious food, and basically lots of catching up with suppliers and fellow risk professionals. So make sure you definitely save that date in your diary. So this now brings us onto our annual conference. So this is our flagship event of the year. This 2-day event is going to be held in just a couple of weeks' time on the 5th and the 6th of October at the Brighton Centre. It is the largest risk and insurance event in the UK. We're hoping for around 300 Airmic members to attend, and then another 700 from the industry, which will be made up from exhibitors, press, presenters, and potential sponsors. So as I mentioned, the conference is free to attend for our members, and you can actually claim over 55 CPD hours. So it's great. So this year's conference is now open for registrations, and there's still time to register if you haven't already done so. So what's happening at the conference? So we've got just over 60 exhibitors in the exhibition hall this year, ranging from brokers to insurers, reinsurers. We've got claims providers, risk management service providers, insurance service providers, and also technology providers. And they're all there really to showcase their innovative risk and insurance solutions. We have a choice of 35 hub sessions to choose from. They will be hosted in our learning hubs. Each hub will focus on a different topic. So we have the sustainability hub, the claims hub, the emerging risks hub, the pandemic hub, the underwriting hub, and finally the changing profession hub. So these are really short educational sessions, and they're 30 minutes long. We're going to be running 8 panel seminars, and these are going to be hosted by our partners. These sessions will focus on the annual survey, megatrends, the future of the insurance market, captives, data analytics. There's just a few to name, and these sessions will run for an hour at the conference. We've also got 6 networking breakfast seminars. We have one running on diversity and inclusion, life after Brexit. We've got recovering from a disaster. I mean, that's just a few to name. We have keynote speeches from Sir David Spielgeharte, I think I pronounced that right, who is a professional, he's a professor in risk management. He's going to be opening on day one, and we've got entrepreneur, author and a maths genius, Dr. Anne-Marie Amarfordon, and she's going to be closing on day two. We've also got a keynote debate, which will focus on trends that will change the insurance industry. There's also a wellness program, which is something I'm personally very passionate about. We're running activities such as a 5K fun run. We've got yoga, we've got Tai Chi, we're doing a beach HIIT workout, actually on the beach, and a series of mindfulness sessions which members can participate in. And finally, plenty of networking opportunities. Airmic will host the official drinks reception on the Brighton Palace Pier. We've got fairground rides, fish and chips. So it'll be a great networking event for you guys to attend. Also, it's worth bearing in mind as well, our partners, they run plenty of networking events in the evening where our members generally get invites to attend. So just to recap, it's a must attend a conference for all of our members. So moving on to the next slide, what do our members get out from attending the conference? Well, we ask our members time and time again, and there's really only 4 reasons why. So the first reason is the vast amount of learning and thought leadership opportunities at the conference. There's such an extensive educational program which our members really enjoy and get so much out of. The second point, CPD hours. As I mentioned, there's over 50 hours that you can claim for just attending in just those few days. The third point, to meet your suppliers, but it's also a chance to browse the marketplace and meet new suppliers. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, the networking. It is the only event in our industry where buyers and suppliers are all together under one roof for 2 days. I mean, you can guarantee to meet old friends, new friends, your colleagues, your peers, and obviously fellow members of the risk and insurance community. So if you haven't already signed up for the conference, please do. You won't regret it. It's such an amazing experience and you will really get a lot out of it. And this brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'm now going to hand you over to Alex.
Thanks, Susie. Can't get rid of me. I just keep popping up again. Hi, everyone. I wanted to talk to you about the third of the so-called pillars that I mentioned before, and that is our special interest groups, which are really one of the best ways for the membership to interact with the partners and suppliers, but also with each other, because although the special interest groups are sometimes synonymously called communities, and we sometimes use the word interchangeably, really, I think what's important is these are groups. These are groups of interest, and they are quite distinct from our other platforms that provide learning CPD hours, although they do, of course, provide CPD hours, because they are not so much an educational platform in the classic style of a lecture or a presentation. They are not read like a report or a technical guide. They are much more group-based and discursive. And they are unique amongst the Airmic platforms in that they are member-led and member-formed. So some of you will be already members of our special interest groups, but for those of you who are unaware, a special interest group is formed by a group of Airmic members, or joined by a group of Airmic members, but formed by a group of Airmic members who are concerned about potentially a risk or are fascinated by a theme, say like climate change, or a certain line of business like motor insurance, or are in a certain industry like construction or water. And they wish to speak with their peers in that field to share their concerns, to share some experiences, to talk about what their risk management strategies have been, what some of their coverage options are. And they would form a grouping, establish themselves as an Airmic special interest group, and from amongst themselves and in cooperation with the Airmic team, us here working in London, would elect a chair who would be a member. And the chair of this group would then work with the Airmic team to try and set up a schedule of meetings during the year, say 3 or 4 throughout the year, and then invite a partner organization or an affiliated organization or an external organization like a university or perhaps even someone from government to come in and address them, to give them some sort of best practice thought or some insights into whatever that issue or or line of business is. Now, in the past, the special interest groups functioned a lot more like a classic platform, in that the partner would come in and sort of speak for 45 minutes for quite a long time. But in recent years, we've put much more of an emphasis on the discursive component of a special interest group and on the sort of roundtable atmosphere that they are now known for. And so what we do now is we encourage partners to come in and give almost like a TED Talk, you know, a really intense, insightful overview of a certain subject to set the scene. And then the partner or external figure is invited to stay with the members to discuss whatever the topic was. And of course, the benefit for them is they learn a little bit about the thinking of the membership, and for the membership is that they learn something insightful from the partner. And these discussions are held under the Chatham House rule, there that nothing is attributable, and therefore the members and the partner can feel that they are expressing their views in complete confidence, and so can be very forthcoming about their experience with the subject. And these groups remain for members only. Partners and other sponsors are not allowed to join these groups from the outside and are only invited to appear on occasion when invited by the chairs in the grouping. They have a very democratic organizational structure. We have 19 of these groups currently. As I've said, everything from climate to structures and subjects like enterprise risk management. We have one specifically for insurance, which will be meeting either right before conference soon or soon after, and we'll be looking at the very difficult and present issue of cyber risk and the cyber risk renewal landscape, and I'm sure that's on many of your minds at the moment. Some of the new ones that we've had in recent years include retail and aviation, sectors that have been pummeled by COVID-19 and the global pandemic. We have an extremely active captives group, an extremely active fleet risk group. And while any member can ask to join these, and the invite does go out for these groups to the entire membership, you know, there's a real sense of community in those groups. People who come to them tend to come again and again and get to know the other people in those groups and get to form a real community of professionals around that topic. These were, of course, held in person before COVID-19, but it has proved incredibly popular to hold them virtually because people can just drop in from their during their lunch hour or a certain point in their week or day to participate in these discussions, and we found that has not harmed the growing sense of community in those groups at all. So I would be happy if any of you have any questions about that, get in touch with me. I can share the list with you of current groups, and if you have ideas for new groups, we're always willing to entertain that idea, and we look forward to seeing you at some of those, hopefully very soon. So at this point, I will hand back over rather to my colleague Ho Young, who will talk a little bit about the technical resources and our thought leadership component.
Thanks very much, Alex, and thanks to Bissy early on for the introduction. In case you missed that, I'm Ho Young Look. I'm the research manager at Airmic, which means that I oversee the research projects and publications that we put out as Airmic. But I've also had the privilege to be involved in the research in terms of engaging with you, with members, partners in industry, through surveys and interviews. So very privileged indeed to be involved in this part of the work of Airmic. So we have a wealth of different types of publications tailored to the different needs of our members, and here's some of them that we run. For those who are relatively new to the profession, for example, we have the Explain Guides, which is the one with the orange cover in the bottom right-hand corner, which is introducing to you the Insurance Act of 2015. And for those who have spent more years in the profession, there are the guides on topics such as the one on D&O liability insurance, the one in green on the bottom row of this slide. In fact, all the publications on the bottom row, second row of this slide will be launched at our conference next month. And this is really a sign of how a library keeps growing all the time and it's being replenished constantly. And you have access to all of these very valuable publications. I can also share about the Roads to Repurposing publication, which will come out at conference. That's the one at the bottom left-hand corner. And that is part of our flagship thought leadership series called the Roads to series, and this one is on the concept of corporate purpose, which has risen through the agenda recently for organizations. And you have heard about repurposing a lot in terms of repurposing business models, especially in view of context of COVID-19 and cyber threats, for example. I can also share about the publication in the top left-hand corner, moving ESG into the mainstream, which is part of our Insights paper series. And this series conveys the key takeaways from some of our roundtables. Some of them are closed-door roundtables on the salient topic of the day, in this case, ESG and climate issues. So in summary, many publications for you to choose and pick from according to your needs. I can also mention, in addition to what's here, Airmic Friday Reading, which is an email every week that we send out, and this is exclusive to members. This is a very popular product, and this is where you get a number of readings curated for you on the set theme of each week. And you can get CPD hours for this too. And this is part of the varied options we have, and this one gives you a more timely delivery of thought leadership and technical materials for your consumption. So in some ways, it's also very much a two-way street, because all these publications and the research that we do, it's not something that takes place in an ivory tower, because members also have the opportunities to be part of the work in this space. The topics we choose each year to cover, for example, are based in part on what members tell us are of concern to them, what's important to them. And this is what we hear through surveys, through speaking to you individually, and also speaking to partners in the marketplace. We also interview members from time to time for their insights, and they are woven into these publications, which you can read. If you could just move on to the next slide, please. Building on that, we also regularly involve our members in consultation pieces. For instance, when the government puts out a bill that impacts the profession, or when regulators call for feedback on matters pertaining to the profession. Here are just some examples of the kind of consultation work we have done this year with members. It is part of our mission to be a voice for the profession, and also a part of our advocacy work for our members. So you see here some of the pieces we've done for the House of Lords, the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, regulators like the FRC, the Financial Reporting Council, as well as institutions like the BSI, the British Standards Institution. And we have engaged our members for these organizations on topics like risk management, cybersecurity and supply chains, very hot topics, audit and governance, risk culture, and emerging risks. And we typically summarize or we try to present and convey the members' views and opinions on these issues to the government or regulator. So with that, I will stop here. Thank you for being with us, and I'll hand it back to Bissy.
Thank you very much, Ho Young, and thank you very much to all of the members of the Airmic team who have taken part in today's session. Hopefully, as attendees, you have been able to learn a lot, and some of your questions will have already been answered. But for those questions that haven't yet been answered, this is your opportunity to pose the questions to the team. The rest of the team will join me and will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. If your question isn't answered now, or if you just want to think about it and come back to us at a later point in time, that's perfectly fine. On the screen now, you'll see the ways that you can get in touch with us, either via email or giving us a phone call. If you're actually thinking about becoming a member, then you can do so via the Airmic website. Airmic membership starts from £160 for a charity organisation, and for a one-person membership, it starts at £505. And that includes all of the great things that you've just heard about over the past almost an hour now. So during the course of the session, we've had a couple of questions come through, which we'll run through. But of course, if you still have those questions, do use your question feature on the right-hand side to get those over to us. So one of the questions which has been asked is just a general one about this session. This session will be available to you post 11 o'clock. you'll get the opportunity to have the slides sent over to you, and also a recording of this session will be made available to you. So if there are others within your organisation who you think would benefit from hearing and learning a bit more about the organisation that is Airmic, then you're more than welcome to take the recording or the slides and share them within your organisation. We also have another question which has come through, asking about our courses, which you would have heard from Adam. Adam, the question is, how do we find out more about signing up for some of the courses that you have mentioned?
Sure, very good question. Once you become a member of Airmic, if you, in fact, you can look now on the Airmic website, you'll see a Learn and Develop tab. And in that Learn and Develop tab is everything to do with learning and development and the courses that we offer. So once you become a member, then effectively, if you take, for example, the Academy or the Fast Track webinars that we run on a regular basis, you can just click on the event that you want, and it will tell you effectively how to register. Some of the other courses like Business Excellence, which is capped at a certain number of people, I mentioned about 2025, then if you click on the Business Excellence banner in the Learn and Develop section of the website, it will show you a form that you complete very quickly. It doesn't take very long, do it online, and you sort of express your interest in the program. And then we respond and hopefully see you on the program. So it's all pretty straightforward, busy.
Thanks very much, Adam. The next question which we've had come through talks about our webinars. They are a helpful way to maintain the overseas membership of Airmic, particularly during a travel ban due to COVID. And it asks about our overseas members and how many overseas members that we have. I mean, I'll take the lead on that. As an organisation, traditionally, we have had a very UK-centric membership base, with the large majority of our members coming from the UK, and probably more so from the southeast. That's something that we are working to change. And yes, you're totally right. We have seen that over the past year with our conversion to online learning, we've been able to see that our members are ready to engage with us in a different way other than face-to-face, and actually in many ways are more so inclined, and they like the flexibility that this offers. So we would hope that in the years to come, as part of Airmic's work in growing our membership base, further diversifying our membership, that we will see more international members coming. In terms of the current membership, of the organisations, we probably have just a handful who are specifically overseas based. However, many of our members who may be UK based also have operations which are further afield, and they are also signing up some of their members who are based overseas. In terms of what we'll be doing in the future, Adam, what does learning and development look like as we come out of the lockdown era?
Oh, to have a crystal ball. Thanks, Pissy. I would just make a couple of points very quickly, aware of time. I would firstly just echo what you've just said. I think our move to online delivery in the last year, albeit somewhat forced, like most organisations, had a huge silver lining in that it did allow a greater depth of membership and breadth geographically to attend our sessions, and we will continue that moving forward. You know, a number of our sessions will remain online, and it's about giving our members choice. So we will do that wherever possible. Some of our courses are better lent to face-to-face delivery just for the networking element, which is easier in person, but we will certainly have a blended approach. In terms of moving forward, the other point I was going to make is that, you know, digitization of what we do in Airmic is an important strand of our strategy, and therefore looking at areas of e-learning that really, for example, aren't time restricted, either not delivered on a certain date, but they allow our members to pull down that content for that course and join and do it at their own pace. Absolutely something that we need to explore, and again, it doesn't matter where you are in the world to do that. And then the third point I would really make is, of course, to my point earlier, that everything we do is learning and carries CPD. So if you are overseas, and of course all the technical content and research that Ho Young alluded to, you can pull down at any time. So learning comes in many different forms. It doesn't have to be a course. It can, of course, be accessed through some of the publications and reports we do as well, for example.
Thank you very much, Adam. And then just lastly, before we round up today's session, some of our listeners today are already Airmic members, and some may well not be, may be less familiar with Airmic. And there's a question about Airmic membership benefits and how those can be spread across the organisation. So just to answer that from a membership perspective, once you are listed as a member within the Airmic system, then you have access to all of the membership benefits that you have heard about today. How you can access it will depend on the type of, how many can access will depend on the type of membership that you have. And membership varies by how many you sign up. We have 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, 4, 5, and also a corporate 6+ membership. When you get to the corporate 6+ level, then you can sign up as many members as eligible beyond 6 without limit. So that's a great piece of value for our corporate members that they get right there. And in terms of the transfer, whether or not membership benefits are transferable, you have to be a named member in order to have those membership benefits. And should you move over to a different organisation and your organisation has been the person to pay for the membership, then you will need to sign up again with your new organisation if that was the case. So if there are no other questions for today, or if something comes to you later on, do use the details that are on screen now to get in touch with us, or you know, peruse the Airmic website as indicated in the chat box. Some of the materials that you would have heard spoken about today, you'll find out in the handout section of the panel on your right hand side, so you can access them on that side. That includes our membership brochure, the conference brochure, our mentoring scheme guide, and also the risk competency framework that you can access in the handout section. Post this event, like I mentioned at the beginning, there will be a short survey, which we would be very much appreciative if you could please complete that. Your feedback is invaluable. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues, Alex, Ho Young, Susie and Adam for assisting in today's webinar. And I do really hope that you now know a lot more about Airmic than you did when you started, and hopefully all of that will be positive. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.